Hi, my name is Ruva. Thanks for visiting my channel. I am going to be talking today about how I weaned my 15-month-old at the time cold turkey. And my son is currently now 17 months old, and he is no longer breastfeeding, and I'm loving it. So I just wanted to share some tips with you about how I went about weaning him cold turkey and how it was for me. Before I go on, if you are new to my channel, please do like and subscribe. I'm gonna be posting more videos about being a mom and beauty and natural hair videos. So I would definitely love for you to click and join and follow along on my journey. So I wrote my notes about what happened with the weaning process because it was a couple months ago, so I didn't want to forget anything. Just a quick background. When I started doing wanting to wean my son during the daytime, he was night weaned. I did do a video about that process. So if you're interested, I'll put a link below and you can watch the night weaning video. But this is about when I did the daytime weaning and we just did a cold turkey. So I actually did it because I was ready to be done. I was ready to stop breastfeeding, and I had successfully weaned him at night, but during the daytime he was still breastfeeding a lot. Like, we breastfed on demand, so he was still breastfeeding 6 times or more sometimes per day. It was when he was hungry, also for nursing, for comfort nursing, and even when he wasn't hungry, like after a meal, he would still want to nurse a little bit. So I found myself nursing a lot. So I was just at a point that we had reached our goal of breastfeeding for a year, and I was just ready to move on to the next part of our journey. So the first thing that I had started to do was I started to try to limit his feeds. Like, I would feed him in the morning, and then I would try not to breastfeed him until like 11 a.m. And I would slowly move the time up. So the next time I would be like, okay, you're not gonna breastfeed for until 12 p.m. And that was really, really hard on him. He would cry and cry and cry, and he would just get really upset and like grab at me, and it was just really stressful for me. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I was with him alone at home, and it was just tough because there was no one to hand him off to. I couldn't just like leave him for a little bit and have somebody else soothe him in a different way. It was just me not breastfeeding him. So that was really hard for us, and we did that for I would say a couple of weeks, and we it was tough, and he was sometimes would accept it, sometimes it was really just like freaking out, crying, and so sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But he ended up getting sick. So my son got sick after we had done this for like a couple of weeks, and so I ended up caving and breastfeeding him throughout that time he was sick. Whenever he wanted it, we went back to doing the on-demand feeding. So I knew that the next time we gave it a go to try to wean him, I wasn't gonna do like cutting the feeds. I just wanted to do cold turkey, because I think the other method, just for him and for our family, it was too difficult and just like too much crying, just too emotional, and he seemed like he really struggled with it, and I also struggled with it. So I decided that I would just do cold turkey. My mom had suggested that we do like what we do in our culture. I'm from Zimbabwe, so a lot of families in Zim, they will give the baby to the grandparents for a couple days or 3 days or a week, and the parents would take care of your toddler, not a baby, but a toddler when they're ready to be weaned, and they would stay with their grandmother and get taken care of, and then you'd take them back home and they would be weaned, right? So we decided that we were gonna do that method, and we were gonna take some time to just to separate and have him stay with a family member. So I know that it's very controversial for some families, like just from reading online, there are lots of different opinions that cold turkey could be traumatizing or like really difficult for the child, and I totally understand that. But for us, again, for us and our our family and our culture, that's what worked for us. And after trying the other method, it did not work for my son. So we decided to go ahead and try the cold turkey method. So before we left, we found care for him. My mom and my sister were the ones who were gonna stay with him. I didn't want to be gone too long, so we were gone from Thursday to Sunday. My husband and I, we actually wanted to go away and have some time alone, and we went to Texas to visit a friend. And my mom and my sister came to our place because we thought it would be nice to be in an environment that he was comfortable in, and with his toys and everything that he knew. And before we left, I went grocery shopping and bought a lot of food and a lot of snacks for him to have as options when we were away. So so I fed him Thursday morning, really early in the morning, because our flight was at 6:30, I think, and you gotta be at the airport really early these days. So his last feed was on April 28th at 2:30 in the morning, and I fed him, and we took a picture, and I gave him to my sister. So how was the last feed? It was a little bit bittersweet. I would say I was ready to be done breastfeeding, but at the same time, I was, I still couldn't believe, oh my gosh, my baby, the last time that we would, that I would breastfeed him. And I did kind of like knowing that this was the last time. I don't know, I like that. I felt like it prepared me for the end. So anyway, so we left and we went on our trip, and he did great. He had a lot of fun with my mom and my sister, and he played and he got to eat his favorite snacks, and they just had a great time. He didn't fuss. He didn't seem like he missed us all that much, which was really awesome, because I was worried that it would be stressful and really difficult for him, but he was awesome. He did not have a hard time at all, and we were able to enjoy ourselves. And I think knowing that he was with people that we trust, obviously, with family, that was huge. And already he had a good relationship with my mom and my sister. He knows them, he's comfortable with them, he spends a lot of time with them, so that was what helped a lot. So as far as me, for me, when I was there, I was in a lot of pain for most of the time that I was there. Um, yeah, I was in a lot of pain on Thursday. Thursday, by the end of the day, I was, my breasts were noticeably fuller and a little bit uncomfortable, not too bad. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like really bad. More so Friday and Saturday. And what I did was I didn't want to pump unless I really had to. I brought a hand pump with me. So I did pump maybe a couple times, and I pumped just very little just to feel relief, just like a little bit to feel some relief in each breast. And that was it. And then the other times I would just tolerate the pain. And I took Motrin and yeah, but it was really hard. And I would sleep. I had to sleep on my back. I couldn't sleep on my side or obviously on my stomach. I had to sleep on my back, elevated. And yeah, it was uncomfortable. But I made the best of it. And yeah, and when we came back, he was really excited and then immediately wanted to breastfeed. And obviously I had to tell him no. So the first day back was really hard for him. And then he was actually fine for the rest of the week. We came back on Sunday. He was fine until the following Thursday. He got sick. And he was like really sick, not eating anything, like barely drinking. And it was so hard for me not to breastfeed him. But I knew we had gone through so much. This was our second attempt to wean him, and we had gone through so much. So I was like, okay, I can't cave. I just have to try to like feed him whatever I can get into him. So he got better after a couple of days. And after he got better, he wanted to breastfeed like worse than this week that that we had just gotten back. He was like crying and just really like wanting to breastfeed. But I think the separation had helped because I was just firm and I said no. I would just rock him, I would comfort him and try to distract him, and then he would move on. Yeah, so I would say emotionally wise for me, there was one day that was really tough. That Thursday after we had gotten back, when he had started to get sick, that Thursday I was so sad. I don't know, I just felt so guilty because he had started to cry more for the milk. I think he wasn't feeling well, so he wanted to breastfeed. And he would cry and wanted to breastfeed, and I felt so bad and questioned myself, those feelings of, did I do the right thing? Should I just breastfeed him? Is he ready? So I knew I was expecting the sadness just because I know it's a loss, it's starting a new phase. And I was also scared, like, how would my relationship with him be? Because this had been such a big part of our relationship, and he could come to me for comfort, and he knew I would breastfeed him. And those feelings of being unsure of how I would comfort him, or if I can, without breastfeeding. But yeah, so all in all, I would say it took 2 weeks for him to really stop asking. So from when we first came back from the trip, it was 2 weeks until he stopped asking and crying. But it had gotten better and better as we went along, except for the time after he got sick. And yeah, and then after the 2 weeks, he would sometimes like come and like try to pull down my shirt, and then he would laugh. Like, he thought it was funny. But other than that, he was fine. Right now, he's 17 months, and he does not request breast milk. He's completely weaned. He sees other kids breastfeeding. I have 2 nieces who are still breastfeeding. He sees them breastfeeding, and he doesn't get upset or want to try. He does still put his hand in my shirt, and I read somewhere that it's for comfort. They associate the chest and the breast as comfort, so he still tries to put his hand in my shirt, and I just like gently pull it away, or just put it here, not in my shirt. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. That is the co-weaning. That is the weaning cold turkey journey that we went on. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It's pretty sad, at times, and it's hard when you know you have the milk and you're not giving it to the baby. But I thought it would take longer. I thought it was gonna be like 2 months of, fighting 2 months. But 2 weeks, not too bad. Still tough, but doable. And I'm grateful that, he's doing well. He's healthy. He did lose he lost weight after we stopped breastfeeding. He lost 1 pound. And then we did a second weight check, and he was back up to where he needed to be. So it wasn't too big a deal. So in case you do wean your baby and they lose like 1 pound, the pediatrician for us said that it wasn't a big deal. Anyways, that's my weaning journey. I hope that you find this helpful, and if you have any questions, please do let me know, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.